Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. lawmg.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. Car loans that seem like a great deal are leaving many buyers financially devastated.
Because, you hear those advertisements all the time. No credit, bad credit, anything like that. We can help you out. And then they add the tagline or something like that. We're just here to help you or something along those lines. Well, no, they're not helping you.
A new state law aims to give homeowners more of a voice as cities seek to expand. And decades after the threat of nuclear war gripped the country, it still has a lasting mark on some Hoosiers.
And I felt this really bad sting. And then I cried and cried and cried.
Those stories, plus the latest headlines from across the state, right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. Well, Hoosiers are remembering Holocaust survivor Eva Kor as a hero who spread her message of peace despite the horrors she lived through as a child. Kor died Thursday at the age of 85 during a trip to Poland. She lived in Terre Haute, where she founded the Candles Holocaust Museum. Governor Holcomb awarded Kor the state's highest honor in 2017 and says in a statement that she brought light into darkness and provided comfort to those in pain, unlike anyone we've ever met. Barbara Brosier looks back at her remarkable legacy.
Eva Kor dedicated her life to sharing her story with others. While living in Romania as a young girl, her family was herded into cattle cars and sent to Auschwitz concentration camp.
Within 30 minutes, my whole family was ripped apart and all died, except for Miriam and me, who were used as human guinea pigs by Dr. Mengele.
Kor had every reason to harbor hate, but she chose the harder path of healing through forgiveness. She dedicated her life to spreading that message through the Candles Museum she founded in Terre Haute and by speaking around the world.
If I can recover and be happy as a happy human being, because I really today believe that every one of us who walks the face of this earth deserves to be happy. We have the human right to be happy and to be free from anything that life or society imposes on us.
While her transition to living in the United States wasn't easy, Kor came to think of Indiana as home, and Hoosiers proudly claimed her as one of their own. Governor Eric Holcomb awarded her the state's highest honor, the Sachem Award, in 2017.
Her life proves there are no bounds on forgiveness, on human decency. Eva shows what our response should be to acts of bigotry and hatred through her daily mission to educate people and spread messages of peace and respect and civility.
It's a message that will live on long after her death.
I am trying to teach the world to heal through forgiveness.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Barbara Brosier.
A bill that will impact the ability of property owners to challenge annexation is among hundreds that went into effect this week. As Barbara Brosier reports, while opponents say the law makes it harder for cities to expand, supporters say it gives homeowners a voice.
When a city like Bloomington wants to expand its limits, it goes through a process called annexation. People and businesses can oppose their property being added to the city through a process called remonstrating. But certain properties have annexation remonstrance waivers associated with them, which prohibit the owners from challenging annexation. Many of them date back years and still stand, even if the property changes hands.
A waiver is a contract. Someone was extended sewer service that the city provides, and they signed that said, if we get the sewer service, which is an urbanized service, then we realize we can't protest when you come to annex us later.
But legislators passed a bill earlier this year that essentially invalidates some waivers. Among the changes, it voids annexation remonstrance waivers executed before July 2003. It also says waivers recorded after that time expire after 15 years.
These waivers that were done maybe 30, 40 years ago were never filed with the property, so it would not follow the deed. It'd be just like a roofer fixing somebody's roof, and then that person sells a home. 4 or 5 years later, the roofer comes back and say, hey, by the way, I never got paid for my roof. Now you, the new homeowner, owe us. That's not fair.
But Bloomington leaders say the legislation impedes their ability to grow by doing away with some long-standing agreements.
It doesn't sound very fair to us or any community that naturally is going to grow. We certainly want our urbanized areas to grow.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Barbara Brozier.
Bloomington plans to annex nearly 10,000 acres are on hold after the state passed language in its 2017 budget bill blocking annexations proposed during a narrow window of time. The city sued, claiming the language is unconstitutional because it singles out Bloomington. The issue is still caught up in court. And joining that annexation bill on the list of new legislation going into effect is a new 2-year, $34 billion state budget, the majority of which goes toward K-12 education. Schools got a $500 million funding boost, and lawmakers took a close look at spending at the Department of Child Services. Now, in addition to a budget shift, DCS caseworkers will now have more time for initial assessments when a child is reported in danger. DCS will also have to adjust how it deals with foster parents, giving them a bigger role in long-term child welfare cases. And some level 6 felons could now go to state prisons rather than county jails or community corrections programs. The measure meant to ease jail overcrowding would allow judges to send level 6 offenders to prison if they committed a violent crime or if they have 2 previous unrelated felony convictions. As part of state law, pharmacists can refuse to dispense abortion-inducing drugs in Indiana. Previously, doctors and hospital employees could refuse to participate in abortion procedures for religious, ethical, or moral reasons. The new law extends that to pharmacists, nurses, and physician assistants. Indiana drivers who recklessly pass school buses when the stop arm is out now face increased penalties. It also gives schools a way to pay for cameras on school buses. An accident last year in Rochester, Indiana, that killed 3 children prompted the legislation. Drivers who illegally pass a bus and injure or kill someone will now be committing a felony instead of a misdemeanor. And a new bipartisan state law now requires the Indiana State Department of Health to recommend schools test for radon, though it wouldn't make testing mandatory. Exposure to radon is the leading cause of lung cancer in people who don't smoke in the U.S. It's estimated to cause more than 21,000 deaths every year. And a new law this year imposes some minimum regulations for electric scooters. It largely leaves the issue up to local government, but communities aren't allowed to ban them entirely. While those laws are all now in effect, some laws that were passed aren't yet being enforced. A fund to innocent people who've been wrongfully incarcerated will pay them $50,000 for each year they were behind bars, but if they take the money, they can't sue the state. The measure takes effect November 1st. And sports wagering won't be legal until September 1st because lawmakers want to give the Indiana Gaming Commission time to establish rules and regulations. Sports wagering will be allowed at casinos as well as via mobile and online bets. Now for headlines, we go over to Barbara Brozier, who has the latest on this week's top stories from around the state.
Thanks, Joe. Protests over treatment of migrants in detention camps took place all over the country this week.
Close the camps now! Close the camps now!
Activists gathered outside of Senator Todd Young's office in Indiana, asking him to put a stop to family separations at the U.S.-Mexico border. They were told Young was not in his office, but organizers say they want the senator to hear what they have to say.
There's no acceptable solution here to this human rights abuse other than to close the camps. That's it. That's what we want.
She says the conversation about these camps should focus on the people. Indianapolis was one of more than 180 protests across the country. A new kind of Asian carp could be making its way into Indiana's waters. State officials say 2 black carp were found in the Ohio River in Illinois, about 10 miles from the border. Unlike other types of Asian carp, they eat mussels, and that's important because there are 9 federally endangered species of mussels in Indiana and others that are in decline. As part of our City Limits project, we're answering Bloomington residents' questions about their community. Sally Sturgeon wanted to know more about Switchyard Apartments, the almost $1.4 million complex going up next to Switchyard Park. Emma Atkinson spoke with project officials to find an answer.
Sally Sturgeon is a longtime Bloomington resident. She came to town in 1966 as an Indiana University student and decided to make the city her home. But she says as someone with reduced income, it can be hard to find a place to live in town. So when she heard about an affordable living project called Switchyard Apartments, she wanted to learn more.
Is there going to be housing for older people being built in the near future? And is it going to be near Switchyard Park, which is right down the street?
The Switchyard Apartments project is a collaboration between the City of Bloomington, South Central Indiana Housing Opportunities, or SIHO, and Life Designs, a support service for people with disabilities. While the apartments are designated as affordable housing, they're not specifically designed for seniors.
We have 3 units for people who earn 80% of area median income, and 5 units that are for 50% of area median income.
The 2017 U.S. Census Bureau estimate for Bloomington's median household income was just more than $33,000. The first phase of the project, which will include 8 units, is expected to be finished by December. Interested tenants can apply online, and Meyerson says SIHO is looking into a lottery selection system rather than first come, first served. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Emma Atkinson.
We want to hear your questions about the changing face of Bloomington. You can join the conversation by going to WTIU.org/citylimits to ask your questions about the past, present, and future of the city of Bloomington. Part of the Kids Commons Children Museum in Columbus will soon look like a state park. Plans include a fake creek, tree canopies, and a tree house. The theme of the new design is meant to encourage family interaction and outdoor education.
So we thought that would be a great topic that everyone would find some interest in, whether it's just exploring their backyard or going to a state forest or a national park.
The renovation will cost $500,000 and a grant covers about 1/5 of the project. Wagner says the rest of the money is coming from donors and other philanthropy efforts. He says construction should be complete next year. And what a great way, Joe, to feel like you're outdoors on the days when maybe you can't get outside.
Exactly, how fun. Thanks, Barbara. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. A decades-old law may leave some Martin County cabin owners high and dry. And we look back to when fear of the atom bomb loomed over national immigration, which might have clouded the judgment of some northern Indiana officials. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
The WTIU WFIU news team connects Indiana to the world. We bring you the top news of the day on radio, TV, and online. We round up the stories that have people talking each week and dig deep into the issues that affect your community the most. The WTIU WFIU news team is where you are and telling your story.
In a time of change, where can you find in-depth reporting and thoughtful analysis? Washington Week on PBS. Join moderator Robert Costa.
When I was at the Capitol this week, I encountered the same.
And a panel of award-winning journalists.
You're seeing a divided nation, and you're seeing
for insights and perspective.
Tonight there was a key development in the
Senate. You won't find anywhere else.
What a week.
Washington Week.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Several Martin County cabin owners recently got a startling letter from the DNR saying they have to move or face a steep fine. At issue is a law that's several decades old. As Adam Pinsker reports, county officials say the law is being selectively enforced.
Ted Osher has been living in this cabin on West River Road in Shoals since October of last year, but his time here could be short-lived. He recently received a letter from the Department of Natural Resources saying he is in violation of the Flood Control Act, which bars unauthorized construction in a floodway. The letter says he must move out or face a fine.
It would be a $1,000 fine if I didn't show them that I was dismantling it, and $500 a day from then on.
The previous owner of the cabin says the DNR told him it would be okay to sell the cabin to Osher.
When these cabins were built, nobody knew they were in any violations. So, you know, obviously they wouldn't have been built, and I wouldn't have bought this knowing that it was in a violation.
Members of the Martin County Commission and County Council wrote a letter to the DNR asking it to hold off on evicting the cabin owners until local and state leaders have time to assess the situation. Commissioners are wondering why this law is being enforced now.
I think the leg that you probably have to stand on is the selective enforcement of this could be construed almost as harassment.
A pair of lawmakers representing Martin County say they're considering legislation to save the homes, but the earliest it can become law is next spring. In the meantime, cabin owner Adam Green is worried the DNR may go after other homeowners who are unknowingly violating this law.
The chance of it going to other counties and having to others in the state would be pretty scary too.
A DNR spokesperson says the agency won't comment on the situation since several of the cabin owners have retained lawyers. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Adam Pinsker.
Thousands of Hoosiers who grew up in Northwest Indiana during the Korean War have permanent proof of the fear many felt about a possible atomic attack at the time. As Mary Kate Hamilton reports, the government gave them special tattoos that identified their blood types.
You wouldn't know by looking at Carol Ann Mikesell and Anela Pekovich-Dixon that they have something unique in common.
So when I said, well, I have a tattoo, and they looked at me like, you old lady have a tattoo?
My favorite days of teaching each semester, I would start out by, I have a tattoo. And the kids go, no!
But the deeply personal decision to get a tattoo isn't one they made for themselves. A study published in the Journal of the American Academy of Dermatology says by May of 1952, 30,000 citizens in Northwest Indiana received a tattoo of their blood type above their left hip or chest. It was called Operation Tat-Type and was born out of fear that there would be an increased need for blood during the Korean conflict. The idea was to make people walking blood banks to enable on-the-spot blood transfusions in an emergency. The idea caught on in just 2 parts of the country, 2 communities in Utah and Northwest Indiana. Mikesell and Pekovich-Dixon both grew up in Gary and received blood type tattoos during the school day in elementary school.
I remember this large lady kind of holding me over her hip and lifting my dress, and then you heard this buzzing and a little bit of a sting, and you walked back to class, and the kids looked to see if you cried.
Pekovich-Dixon went to school on the other side of town. Her parents were both deaf. Her father was also mute, and her grandmother was Serbian. So when she started school at age 5, she had no knowledge of the English language. Her fear is what she remembers most about that day.
I remember a day vividly when kids were screaming at school, and it really frightened me, and I tried to get out, and I couldn't. And I guess in my way of thinking, it was my turn, and I was crying, I was sobbing, and I felt this really bad sting, and then I cried and cried and cried.
Pekovich-Dixon didn't have the language skills to know what happened to her that day, or to explain it to her parents.
Back in that day, we only took baths once a week on Saturday, and I was the 4th, so I got the 4th tub of dirty water, and I remember my mother trying to wipe off that blue spot.
The fear of an atomic attack gripped the Lake County community. But the tattooing didn't last long. When the Korean War ended, the demand for blood dropped, and ultimately, Operation Tat-Type failed. The study states that doctors didn't trust the tattoos because of possible errors, and the trial never caught on nationwide. But as the Lake County community grew older, their tattoos simply became a part of them.
And even in the reunions, I don't even think we've talked about it. It just was something that happened, and it's a part of you, and life goes on.
Their tattoos are now faint, but still serve as a reminder of the times they grew up in.
If somebody asked me if I would ever do my childhood over again, I wouldn't change a thing.
They're the only tattoos Mike Sell and Pekovich Dixon have. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Mary Kate Hamilton.
7 million Americans are more than 90 days behind on their car loans, nearing the peak from the Great Recession. As Tyler Lake reports, it's younger and poorer buyers that are ending up underwater.
Neil Welliver used to sell cars. He started out working for his father, but it wasn't until he left the family business that he saw the more aggressive side of auto sales.
We would have to scrape the customers off the ceiling because when they would see that number, I mean, they would jump up and get physically, you could tell they were very upset at that number.
That was part of a sales tactic called the four-square technique. First, you hit the buyer with a huge down payment, low trade-in value, and an astronomical monthly payment.
And we would basically follow up and say, well, how close to these numbers can you come? And right then, a lot of the folks, when they walked in, were thinking, I'd want to be at $200 or $300 a month. Then they mentally bump themselves to a higher figure after seeing those large inflated numbers.
Dealers can play with the numbers, lowering down payments, increasing trade-in value, and stretching out the life of the loan until the numbers seem affordable to the buyer. It's one way they can distract the buyers from paying attention to the actual cost of the car. Welliver says if buyers stay focused on monthly payments, they might not realize how much they're spending overall or how long they'll be paying off the loan. When you think about it that way, it's not surprising to hear so many people can't keep up with their payments. Most of the loans that end up in default are from young buyers, those with weak credit, or often both.
You're seeing more delinquencies at the finance companies than you are with the banks and credit unions.
And there's a reason for that.
Banks have to be accountable to federal regulators who are looking at safety and soundness and looking at risk. Auto finance companies don't have that. So as long as they're achieving a return, they can take on more risk.
And that's exactly what those lenders are doing. Half of the loans from auto finance companies are to borrowers with a subprime credit score. Credit unions and banks keep their mix of poor credit buyers much lower. Many of these subprime loans are through buy here, pay here lots that aggressively market to customers with poor credit.
Because, you hear those advertisements all the time. No credit, bad credit, anything like that. We can help you out. And then they add the tagline or something like that. We're just here to help you or something along those lines. Well, no. They're not helping you if they're going to help dig you further into debt when you've got something that still works, still gets you from point A to point B. It just isn't as fancy as what you would like it to be.
Schumann says that while dealers may employ that technique to distract buyers from the actual cost of the car, it's up to the consumers to do their homework.
I think people need to be more confident and more prepared to come in with what they can actually afford and stick to it and not get drawn into the let's extend the life of this loan or anything like that.
But people are spending more than ever on used cars. According to Experian, the average used vehicle loan payment tipped over $400 a month last year. Macy says there's a number of reasons for that. One is that people are buying larger vehicles like SUVs and trucks, but she says there's a bigger problem pushing up the delinquency rate.
Our overall sense is that the jobs that we've been replacing jobs with since the recession tend to be lower wage, lower quality, and therefore people are kind of making up for that with debt, and that's putting us in a risky position.
One common way buyers are trying to reduce monthly payments on more expensive cars is increasing the length of the loan.
Marketing being shifted towards people that are buying these cars. They're telling them that they can afford these monthly payments because what they're doing is they're stretching out the life of the loan. So it used to be that car loans were, you could say 4 years. Now we're talking they're going into the 7-year terms.
That makes the monthly payments cheaper, but it leaves the buyer on the hook for a lot longer, often paying on a car that is worth less than what they owe, even years after purchasing it. Schumann says 5 years is as long as he would recommend for a car loan. He also says you shouldn't spend more than 15% of your total income on a car, and you should put 20% down on your purchase up front. And for a lot of people, that can mean setting reasonable expectations and sticking with the plan you make. Welliver has seen firsthand what can happen if you're not careful. He says do your research and be prepared before heading to a dealership.
If you're looking for a certain make, model, mile range for a vehicle, you can compare and know, hey, I'm going to go out and I'm going to probably pay within this window.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Tyler Lake.
And the Brown County Music Center is on track to be completed in August. Most of the center's profits will go toward the Brown County Community Foundation. The rest will go to the Brown County General Fund.
This is the first time that Brown County has had an opportunity to actually get infrastructure monies from tourism.
He says the music center will set itself apart from other venues by hosting high-quality performances from the likes of Vince Gill and Art Garfunkel in Nashville's intimate setting. That's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. Alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. Rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.